you never know, because when you open the channel, anything can come through, and I never know before a session either. I just open up and then I let their highest self, their soul, their guides, whoever is of the highest light to come through and bring their messages.
Welcome to the Soul Circus podcast, a space where we explore transformation, healing, and personal growth. Every episode, we sit down with inspiring practitioners, guides, and thought leaders to share wisdom, stories, and insights that help us grow, mind, body, and soul. I'm Lionel, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's begin. Today's guest is someone who has tapped into a deep, intuitive connection with life, energy, and spirit, and is helping others do the same. Kajsa Krebs is a multifaceted intuitive channel, mentor, writer, and filmmaker based in Stockholm. Through her work with soul sessions, life force activation, and energy healing, she helps people reconnect with their highest potential, clear trauma, and activate deeper states of authenticity and alignment. Kajsa has supported hundreds of clients through her offerings. She's been a creative force behind Sweden's leading spiritual podcast, Holy Crap, and is now developing her own platform and podcast, Sphere Stories, while also studying filmmaking. She's part of a new wave of young souls bringing fresh, authentic energy into the world, and we'll explore how her journey, her gifts, and her vision for the future can inspire all of us. Kajsa, it's such a pleasure and honor to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Wow, that's such a beautiful introduction.
For everyone listening, could you start by sharing a bit about your journey? How did you go from competitive figure skating and creative arts to becoming a channel, intuitive mentor, and energy healer?
Wow, I mean, it's a long story for sure. But I guess ever since I can remember, I've always been very intuitive and in touch with life. I remember this from when I was very young, and like this reality didn't make sense. But what did make sense, or I think what helped me ground, was practicing being in my body. And I did that through figure skating. And I found figure skating when I was really young, I think maybe around 4 or 5. And since then, it became like a huge part of my life. And I think I practiced like 6 days a week for 10 years. So on a really high level. And I think that was actually what helped me anchor in and be present here on Earth, because otherwise I felt like my frequency was so different from the one here that it was very hard for me to actually be here as a sensitive soul. But because of figure skating, I learned how to move in my body and kind of like realizing that it was fun having a body too. And yeah, since I quit figure skating, which I did maybe 6 or 7 years ago, like competitively, I still skate, of course, but I quit competitive figure skating. And since then, I guess it correlated with me finishing high school and, kind of being pushed out into real life.
Yeah.
And that's when I had a series of personal events happening that caused me to question my reality and question the way I had seen things. It was like I had been in a bubble of kind of, I guess, protection, or not remembering my like deeper truth for my entirety of school. And then the second I was out of school, it was like it came flooding back again.
Hmm.
And I was very, drawn to astrology and human design. And I I delved into and kind of explored as much as I could of astrology, and I learned everything about it in such a quick time period that it was almost like a remembering more than a learning. And yeah, then I found this podcast, Holy Crap, that were active for about 5, 6 years, I think. And I found them in 2020 when the world was in lockdown and COVID was happening and there was so much insecurity. And I found that, and it was like I heard a voice in my head that was just like, you have to work with these girls. You need to be a part of this, whatever this is. I needed to be a part of it. Um, and yeah, then because of that, I got introduced to so much of the holistic and spiritual sphere. And I was able to try and experience so many different modalities and healing sessions, and kind of, the doors were just like flown wide open, and I could suddenly understand and see life in a deeper and truer way than I had done before.
If you've been feeling the call to work with a coach, healer, or guide, Soul Circus makes it easy to find someone you can really trust. From breathwork and energy healing to meditation, yoga, and so much more, you can browse profiles, read real reviews, and choose the right match for your journey. Just head over to soulcircus.com and explore. And now, back to our conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, good start. Yeah. It felt
Mm,
like you opened the door of something and then reconnected with your inner self and maybe your past, maybe probably previous lives. But then got so curious, yeah, that you jumped it. Was there a
yeah.
specific moment or experience when you realized that you had specific abilities because you got interested in those, but at some point you noticed that you had clairvoyant and intuitive abilities? How did that unfold for you?
Mm. I think, again, it's just something that I've always had. So my realization was more like realizing that other people didn't have this. And that has really just happened in recent years. It's been a wake up call to realize that people don't understand and see through reality in the same way that I do. But then, of course, it was challenging at times because I was like talking to friends or family and like opening up about my experiences and telling them like this is what I see, and this is how I understand things, and then not being met with the same understanding back. And more so, I was actually realizing that I had been talking about these things my whole life, and then realizing now in recent years that I had like opened my heart to these people, and all this time they weren't able to actually see and understand, even though I thought that they did. So that was kind of the process and the healing that I had to go through. Um, if that makes sense, like being too vulnerable almost,
Mm, yeah.
and learning how to close down rather than like opening up to everyone and everything all the time, and learning what people you can talk about certain things with and what
Mm,
people you could talk about other things with. But yeah.
exactly. Not maybe these profound things that inhabit you. You
Mm,
spoke. You mentioned your family and friends.
yeah.
How did they respond when they noticed these gifts in you? Do you talk openly about it now with them?
I think more and more I am, and my mom has kind of like, of course, because when I was going through all of these shifts and when I was exploring, I was still living at home, and she kind of went through all of that with me. And yeah, the rest of my family, they are, of course, open and curious, but I think they haven't gone into the same state of remembrance quite yet that I always had, I think. But it's just like
Mm,
different points in your journey. but yeah, they're definitely open and supportive, but uh, maybe not on the same understanding level quite yet. Yeah.
Okay, clear.
Yeah.
Um, Kajsa, you're still very young, yet
Yeah.
you've helped hundreds of people. Do you feel a sense of mission to support your generation and the younger souls coming into the world now?
I definitely do. And I think that's what I why I do what I do. That's why I hold sessions and that's why I have my classes and why I'm interested in all of this really. But I think also young people today are so in tune themselves, like they are so awake already. So even though I can support them and I can have my sessions and help them, it's not needed in the same way as it is with older people, I feel. I feel like my role within, I guess, the new generation is just anchoring this frequency and being a part of it. It's not really that I have to do anything. It's enough, just being here and being part of everyone else that share the same energy, I guess.
Hmm.
Mm.
Um, you've trained in Kundalini activation process, also known as CAP, and then developed your own LEAP, life
Mm.
force activation practices. Can you share how this evolved and what makes them unique?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. It was back in 2022 when I first found CAP, and back then I had just dropped out of university in England because I felt that I needed to do something else. It wasn't the right choice for me back then, and I found CAP, did the training like a month after, and really my life just changed at such a rapid pace. And that's what happens when you do energy work.
Yeah.
Of course, everything is always in transformation and everything always changes, even CAP. And for those of you who are aware of the spiritual sphere that CAP and life force activation is, you know that the brand CAP was later dissolved and transformed into what is called life force activation. It's basically like the core energy of it is always the same because life force energy is always life force energy.
Hmm.
But during this transition, I was like, I feel like maybe I want to find my own unique expression of this energy, and I want to see, because I always felt like in when I was doing the CAP sessions, I was still channeling a slightly different energy than what the the brand, or I don't know what you can call it, but like the majority was channeling. I was doing something that I felt was like, but this is, I don't know, this energy is something different.
Hmm.
And then I spent some time exploring and asking, the universe, what is this energy actually that I'm working with? And a name came through that was Leap. So for me, it stands for Light Expansion Acceleration Practice, which is kind of a modality or a technique to get your particles to vibrate at a faster rate. So, like raising
Hmm.
your vibration,
Frequency,
filling,
yeah.
exactly, filling them up with more light frequency. And in that process, then, of course, purging and pulling out all of the denser and heavier stuff that needs to leave your system. And yeah, I think that's how it came about, and then since then, I worked with Leap for about a year and a half now, and it's a very transformative and deep practice, which is again very similar to life force activation, but with my own, I guess, personal twist a little bit.
Flavor. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And again, I think in even in live force activation, you can't really it's always gonna be tainted a little bit by the person who channels it because everyone is unique and everyone brings their own energy into it. So even if you go to a class that is called live force activation, it will always be influenced by the facilitator to some extent. Um, but yeah, that's what I do, and then I have other offerings too. But yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I know you often work with movement, voice, and energy simultaneously. What
Mm.
happens in the body and energy field when someone receives this kind of work?
So a lot of things can happen. I think the main thing is what I spoke about before, that it raises your vibration. And in another session that I have that I call body tuning, that's in that session, I go into the body's system in like a deeper way, I guess, than in the leap sessions. And in the body tuning, so if I can pull it back a little and describe like, I guess the science behind it so that it's easier to digest, every because everything in the universe is energy and everything is vibrating at a frequency that also emits sound. So everything, it's like you can search and Google and research this how much you want, but it's very like if I just touch upon it very quickly, everything is basically music. There has even been science done on our human DNA that shows that our DNA is singing, like it
Hmm.
emits sound. So we're all actually walking around with our own unique sound frequency and song, like emitting out into the world. It's just that we can't hear it because our ears aren't tuned to that frequency, but it's there. And in this body tuning, what I do is I use my own voice and toning to access like parts of our body that vibrate at the same tone. So, for example, the spine, we have the different vertebrae, right? And those are all correlating to a very specific tone. And if you can access that tone, you can also release the feelings, the emotions, the trauma that are kept inside that vertebrae. And that is a very powerful way of actually transmuting energy and healing. And, sound has been used for thousands of years. Since ancient times, people have always used sound to heal and to evolve. So, yeah, that's what I do in the body tuning sessions, and it's very I think it's quite unique, but also very powerful, way of working. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, wonderful. It reminds me, I have a few questions regarding this, Kaisa, but
Yes.
a story that comes to mind. I was reading an article about why cathedrals have been built in the first instance.
Mm,
It
mm,
was a place where they played this great org music inside. And I heard this was a place where uh, people from the village, from the town would gather at different moments in time to listen to music together, to heal together.
yes.
So it looks like cathedrals are not just building to celebrate a religion, it's also a place to heal together. And I love this idea. It resonated so much with me. So
Mm,
thanks for also going into the details. Um,
yeah.
is it so? I'm a bit curious regarding this. You said that we all have different sounds. Is it so that each individual has their own primary signature, if you want, and the sound changes throughout life, maybe throughout our mind states? How does
Mm.
that work?
I think for sure, and I can't speak about this too much because I'm no scientist in that matter, but if I'm just like channeling, yes, everyone has their own unique frequency and our own unique song or sound, and that is forever. We can't change that. Um, or actually, I think we can change that if we evolve. Like the more we learn and the more we grow and like ascend, if you will, then
Hmm.
our note and our song will change. And the thing with society today is that actually everything around us makes our own frequency distorted. Like all the distractions, all the noise that is not harmonic, it makes our own energy field disrupted and it affects our own frequency and our own note in the way that it actually imagine if you play on a guitar string or something and you hit the wrong like it doesn't sound right and if you press the strings exactly the way that they're supposed to be pressed then it sounds beautiful. So that's kind of what like society is doing depending on what circumstances we put ourselves in. It can either disrupt our song or it can bring more harmony and like beauty into it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, if that was a little bit explanation, maybe.
Yes, it is. Thanks for this.
Mm.
Could you share one or two powerful experiences you've witnessed through your work, moments that reminded you why you do what you do?
Mm. That's a beautiful question. Yes, I have I have many such um instances, and I think I don't really have one in particular in mind, but usually I get so much fulfillment just from being in my sessions each and every time and watching people heal and watching how people start to cry or in the leap classes how they move and scream for like the first time in their life because we as people have been learned to like silence ourselves all the freaking time and it's so liberating to be in those classes and just see people like letting go completely and like the joy that comes from that I'm getting like chills because it's so powerful and I think that's the best and then when they just like after are so completely filled with gratitude and wonder of this experience and later in their day-to-day life when they are able to handle situations and everything from a different perspective and a different energy and it's just I think that's the most powerful thing, and that's why I do what I do, to just help people elevate and live with more light and, joy in their lives.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, beautiful. How do people usually find you? Is it mostly word of mouth?
Um, yes and no. I think because I have my Instagram, page where I post about my sessions and, little, like, snippets from my life, and I think people usually find me there or by a recommendation from a friend or someone in their circle that has come and came and tried one of my sessions. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Um, I've heard you also create art, writing poetry and studying filmmaking. How
Yes.
do your creative projects and your spiritual work feed each other?
I think they because I study filmmaking, like you said, and that's a way for me to actually channel my experiences and my what I see and hear, I guess, into stories. And that is a very fulfilling way for me to work because stories are kind of what propel humanity forward in many ways.
Mm,
And it's what keeps us, engaged with each other and they have such a massive and huge spread. Like movies that are successful or books that are successful, they touch people all around the planet. And I want my films and the work that I do to be a way of like channeling the wisdom that I have into art in that way, and to affect people and help to like uplift. That's it feels very meaningful to me. And I hopefully some of the like energy from the healing and the work that I do in my sessions are able to like funnel into and channel into my writing and my creative outlets as well. So it's all intertwined, really. It's all kind of the same thing, just like different expressions of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
And different channels and
Yeah.
more spread through them. Kajsa, you often speak about living authentically and cutting through the noise of social media, for example, and society in general. How do you personally stay connected to your authentic self?
I think time alone is really important for me. And I think it's different for everyone because we're all so unique. And so no one thing is gonna work for everyone. But for me, what helps is actually having time for myself so that my own energy so that I can feel my own energy, because it's so hard for people who are sensitive to be present and like feel themselves, because empaths are so good at like spreading out and reading everyone and everything, and then we forget about our own needs and our own wants. So to be authentic means to actually take time out to be present in yourself and being able to, just explore yourself and see what it is that you want. And I think just like finding little sockets of time throughout the day or the month where you can spend some time alone. I think that's like the most important thing for me that I've learned so far.
Maybe you're looking for your next transformational experience, something to expand your practice or deepen your healing. The Soul Circus event calendar is full of workshops, retreats, and sessions designed to support your personal growth. Whether it's mindfulness, movement, or powerful inner work, there's something waiting for you. Discover more at soulcircus.com. And now, back to our conversation. I think it's a great advice for all of us, actually.
Yeah,
More or less empaths, doesn't matter. Um,
exactly. Yeah,
these moments of calmness with ourselves are very, very important to ground ourselves and remember
yeah,
who we are. Do you
exactly.
sometimes feel different or even like an alien in this world? Like, how do you embrace that as part of your role in this planetary shift?
Um, I think I've always felt different. And again, I think also people who are open hearted and sensitive struggle with this world and struggle to fit in and struggle with being understood. And what was your question actually? Can you go back to?
Yeah, if you sometimes feel different or even like an alien in this world, and
Mm,
how you manage to embrace that as part of your role
okay,
in this world.
okay. Um, so I think embracing it is the challenge, right? I've spent so long trying to fit in and thinking that there was something wrong with me and like fighting against my own nature and trying to like push away my own push away myself in favor for people around me, in favor for like working environments. And um but the thing is, then you're fooling yourself if you're like trying to fit in and like trying to have fun or trying to like be a part of a group of people that actually maybe don't understand things the same way that you do. Um So it's an ongoing process, I will say that, of trying to, like, um, be true to yourself and,
Mm,
just, find the right people for you, and I think it's hard, and there there aren't that I mean, it's growing every day and more people are coming back home to themselves, but I think it's still we're quite spread out, you know, across the globe, like these little lights. And then we just have to come together and find each other because then we'll feel so much better too.
mm. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of this, many of our listeners are sensitive souls navigating this intense time on Earth. Rather than focusing on specific daily practices, what guiding principles or perspectives do you feel help most in staying grounded, clear, and in tune with one's own energy?
Mm, I think I have just like, I think it's hard because I can only speak from my own experiences, right? I can't, you know, say what it's like for everyone, but for me, something that really has helped was when I found out about the theory of star seeds or, you know, star children
Yeah.
and understanding what that meant, understanding what that is. And then because it felt like a coming home when I read about those things. And that perspective has actually helped me immensely throughout
Mm,
these last couple of years because it's something that feels true to me and something that I know that I can fall back on. You know, it's just like if I'm just an energy here on earth experiencing all of this for a while, then you know, why not make the most of it? I know I came here for a reason and I might not know that reason yet, but I know that it will reveal itself. And I know that I'm here for a purpose and just like resting in that knowing that gives me a lot of comfort actually.
mm,
And also just like connecting to myself and to my guides and spirit and just feeling the universal or life force energy actually on a daily basis, that feels like a coming home to me as well.
mm,
So that really helps a lot. And taking 1 or 2 minutes here and there to just like breathe and stepping into your alignment again, that really helps. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, great. You've shared that you feel deeply connected to the younger generations. Um, and in this regards, it reminds me of and the Galactic Children. It reminds me of Dolores Cannon. I don't know if this is through
Yeah.
her that you heard about the different waves. So when I heard,
Partly through her, also through
yeah,
other books and
others,
teachings.
yeah,
But yeah.
it was actually a mind blowing. Yeah, of course, it's also from before, but that was for me, I think, very an amazing experience to hear about this and a mind
Yeah.
opener. I think it was
Exactly.
10, 15 years ago. So you see things differently from this moment, from that moment when you hear about the different waves of galactic children coming to Earth, helping probably the Earth raising its own vibration. So
Yes.
yeah, no, just I had a question regarding this from your perspective. What are some of their unique energetic signatures, and what do you believe they need most right now to thrive and navigate this changing world? Because they're coming in a world that is quite a mess. What's your take on this?
Yeah. I think, um, like, the signature is I think all you can always, look into someone's eyes and see their energy and their truth and what kind of I mean, I maybe that's, a clairvoyant ability, I don't know, but I can always see the level of understanding that they are on, and the souls or the people that identify themselves as starseeds or the younger generation of galactic children, it's always this kind of presence in their eyes and this like calm yet big knowing. And I would say like calmness is a very um it's a huge identification factor because it's like they know they've been through a lot and it's just like wisdom, you can see wisdom through their eyes. But
Mm.
also lightness and a feeling of just being able to have fun
Yeah.
because um this earth and this kind of density, it's so heavy that the older generations are kind of like trapped a little bit in these paradigms of everything, that everything has to be a struggle and everything has to be heavy. And the galactic children, they come here with such lightness and just happiness because they come from different realms where that's not the case. And that's also the purpose, to bring more of that lightness and love also here. And that is something that I've channeled, that they bring a different frequency of love that is very needed on the planet right now too. Yeah.
Yeah. Completely agree. So nice the way you put words into this. Love it. Thanks, Kaisa.
Mm, okay.
Looking ahead, what do you believe are some positive characteristics of the new world we are collectively moving toward?
Ooh, I think again, if you look to um, younger people today, many of them are here with a different level of understanding, and I think that that will help the earth so much moving forward. And I also think that there is such a strength in young people and like an empowerment and also the lightness that I spoke about. And I think all of these things will help to create a new society in the future. Also, there are so many young people today who refuse to accept the system of like um working 9 to 5 or the traditional sense of working, and that's what we've seen explode like the past couple of years with online working and since COVID, like different ways of approaching work and just like living. And I think in the future everything is going to look so different. Hopefully, everything will be more environmental friendly because that's also a huge issue that I think all young people are like feeling and dealing with. That like all of this shit in a way has been put on us and that we need to like help the earth and solve it. I think that's very ingrained in us since we were young. And I think that's, yeah, something that will change for the better. And there are always, different timelines on how things could go and move forward. But I think definitely, it's like everything has collapsed into a very light future. That doesn't mean that there won't be challenges, of course, there always will be. But I think also, we as galactic children wouldn't be here unless it was to bring everyone into a brighter future. So,
Yeah. Yeah. How
yeah.
do you continue to grow as a spiritual being and as a guide for others? What practices or teachers support you in deepening your path?
Mm. I think recently, it's been actually stepping away a little bit from seeking help outside and like seeing people and talking to psychics or mentors. It's been a lot more about stopping the outside noise actually and coming back to myself, I felt a need to kind of retreat a little bit and just be in communication with myself and my guides and like through the channel that I have. Because I spent so many, like a while back, like in 2020 to 23 maybe, just like exploring everything and being so like deeply interested that I kind of got a little bit overwhelmed, I think.
Mhm.
And now it's just like I'm quite, you know, happy and confident in my own belief and the way that I like to operate, and just like resting in that for a little bit, I think is where I'm at
Mm.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. And a question is raised based on what you just said, because you've helped hundreds of people, and it's not always easy to balance holding space for others while taking care of your own energy. How do you
Mm.
achieve that? Do you have some good advice around this?
Mm. Um, I think I've been again, a couple of years ago, I held so many sessions and I was so deep into this work that I think it actually overwhelmed me a little bit too. And now I'm just like in that season of life where I'm focusing on myself a little bit more. But I think back then, when I was so active within that sphere, I was more, I guess it was also easier for me to like feel when I took on something that wasn't my own and
Mm.
when I was in my own energy. But I would always, like after a session, you always return everything to sender that's not yours, and you release everything back into the light that is not of your own highest good. And as long as you kind of repeat that to yourself or kind of say that, set that intention, then most of the time you're good, I would say.
Good advice. Thanks.
Yeah.
And we talked about life force activation and body tuning. Could you tell us a bit more about soul sessions and what happens then when you have
Yes.
such sessions with people? I'm a bit curious.
Mm. So the soul sessions are a little bit different because they are more channeling from your higher self, from your soul, and it's an hour session where we sit down and we talk. So it's kind of like a psychic or intuitive reading where I I can talk about your soul signature, who you are as a soul, what your mission is on Earth, and that can be as simple as just like being here and experiencing life here. And all of that stuff I can talk about, but then also about maybe where you are at in life or what you need to focus more on if you're moving through transitions. That's usually when people come for guidance, right? When they're moving through big life shifts and they need some help.
Mm.
And that can be in relationships, it can be work-wise, it can be just like an inner sense of things moving and you're not really in control. And yeah, I think it's just like you never know because when you open the channel, anything can come through, and I never know before a session either. I just open up and then I let their highest self, their soul, their guides, whoever is of the highest light to come through and bring their messages. But I love those sessions. It's so much fun and a really nice way of connecting deeper to yourself as well. Yeah.
If you're a coach, healer, or practitioner who wants to share your gifts with more people, we'd love to welcome you to the Soul Suckers community. It's more than just a platform, it's a space where your work is seen, valued, and supported. You can set up your profile, offer sessions, and connect with people who are actively looking for what you do best. Visit soulsuckers.com and sign in as a practitioner. We can't wait to meet you. Now, back to the conversation. Do you feel that anyone could practice this and become a channel for themselves first and maybe then start guiding others? Or you really have to be born with this
No, I don't think
gift?
you have to be born with it. I mean, I think some people just have it inherently, and more young people, if you come back or listen to this episode in like 10 years, or if you interview someone in 10 years that is the same age as me, they're going to be like, yeah, of course, whatever, that's super easy to do. Um, but I think people today, I mean, we all have it. That's the thing. We all have this inside of us. It's nothing like it's not weird or strange to be telepathic or be able to channel or heal. These are actually like inherent qualities to what it means to be a human. It's just that we've forgotten about them for a second, and that's what is happening to Earth now, is that we're slowly waking up to these gifts and talents again and activating parts of our DNA that has been sleeping for a while. But I think um everyone can activate it, and it's just like a matter of interest in the end. If you're interested and curious about these things, then you'll learn. Like, it's unavoidable that you'll learn and that you'll grow if that is something that your soul wants to do.
Mm,
But it's
yeah.
always a choice. So you don't have to, and we all have free will, but if you're open-minded and curious, you'll activate, and you can take courses, and there is so much material out there that you can pull from and access to help you on your journey. So
Such exciting and empowering times at the moment.
yes,
We're
yes.
rediscovering our own power. Beautiful.
Mm.
Kajsa, we are getting close to the end of this beautiful conversation. If you could leave our listeners with one core message about living authentically and connecting to their true energy, what would it be?
Mm. I think I have to think about this for a second, maybe.
Sure, take your time.
Um, I would say, maybe it sounds cringy, but listen to yourself and be brave in your own knowing and stand strong in your truth, because only you know your truth, and that's the one thing that no one can take from you as long as you believe in it yourself. And believe in magic and in miracles, because they're true. If you believe that that's true, then it's true.
And finally, where can people find your work, your sessions, and your podcast, Sphere Stories, if they want to connect or learn more?
Yeah. So I have my Instagram handle that's called Stories by Kajsa. And that's basically where I share most of my information. And then I also have my podcast, Sphere Stories, and you can find that on Spotify as well. And I have my Calendly site where people can book all my sessions, but I have that linked in my Instagram as well, in the bio there. So really, you can find everything you need to know on my Instagram channel.
Great. And of course,
Yeah.
people can find you on Soul Circus. You have a profile there as well.
Yes. Of course. Yes.
To close our conversation, we usually finish with a quick fire round, a few short questions to get a glimpse into your inner world. Are you ready to start?
Yes.
Great. So I start with describe your work in one word.
Uh, Returning,
Hmm. What does authenticity mean to you?
finding finding home, finding truth.
One moment in your life when you felt completely in your power.
When I dance, I would say.
A quote or mantra that you love.
Mm, There is a psychologist that wrote a book called Only Love is Real that talks about soulmates reunited. And I think that quote, Only Love is Real, is very beautiful.
One book, film, or teaching that changed your life?
Well, that book, then, but also a book that I read when I was 14 called The Host, which is written by Stephanie Meyer, the same author as Twilight, but this book is like a standalone book. But that one definitely changed my life.
Hmm. If you could
Yeah.
give your younger self a piece of advice, what would it be?
I would say be brave and listen to yourself. You have nothing to worry about. Yeah.
Hmm. One thing you wish more people knew about themselves?
Maybe this sounds cringy too, I don't know, but you have everything you need inside of you. Like everything is there. It's just a matter of it's like a it's like a tap water. You just have to turn on the water and everything will start flowing. You just need to find the button to push, I guess.
Hmm. Something small that instantly lifts your spirit.
Mm, uh, singing, I would say.
Hmm. And finally, how would you define love?
I mean, can you define love? I don't know. Uh, define. I don't think it's meant to be defined. I think it's meant to be just like a cosmic force, like a flowing energy. But anyone who's felt love in their life, I think you know the feeling, like you know how to define love. But you can use so many words. You can use truth, ecstasy, joy, passion. But yeah, I don't think it's meant to be defined.
It's an answer. Very good
Yeah.
too. Kajsa, thank you so much for sharing your journey, your gifts, and your vision for a more authentic, heart-centered world. I know our listeners will feel inspired by your story and the light you're bringing into the world. We wish you continued success in your work and creative projects, and may many more people benefit from the healing and clarity you offer. Thank you,
Thank you so
Kajsa.
much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
What an inspiring and heart-opening conversation with Kajsa. Her journey, her gifts, and her vision remind us of the importance of living authentically and trusting the energy that flows through us. I hope you found this episode as insightful and uplifting as I did, and that it sparked something within you to step even more into your own truth. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss future episodes with more inspiring guests and conversations on transformation, healing, and personal growth. Until next time, wishing you clarity, courage, and connection from all of us here at Soul Circus.